What is going on, guys? We are back playing some more Surviving with Mekanism, and today, guys, we're going to be prepping for 5 times ore processing, which I'm really excited about getting to, but there are a lot of things that we have to do first. So if you don't know, one of the big things that we're going to need when we go into 5 times ore processing is going to be a steady supply of gunpowder. So typically people will get gunpowder by running cobblestone through machines until you eventually get it to gunpowder. I believe it's cobblestone gets turned into gravel, the gravel then gets turned into flint, and then the flint gets turned into gunpowder, something along those lines. It does require a fair bit of power. It requires like 3 machines that you run it through, base 3 machines, and then on top of that, one of them is a purification chamber, so you need oxygen going in there, so it's a lot of steps. Now, obviously, the ways around that would be getting gunpowder through killing mobs. So we're going to be setting up a mob farm today. We're going to be using the typical Ethos Lab mob farm that drops the mobs and kills them. There's no need to do anything else. We could also, if we found some mob spawners, transport those using cardboard boxes, but we'll go into that at a later date because I have yet to find any. Now, the reason that this is going to be super effective is because not only are we going to be getting gunpowder, but we are going to be getting rotten flesh. Now, rotten flesh for the most part is relatively useless. It has certain uses when it comes to other mods, but for the most part it's useless except for the fact that we can use it to get biofuel. Now, we had a biofuel power generation setup a while ago which turned biofuel into ethylene and then burned the ethylene in a gas burning generator, and I told you guys back then that we were going to try and get rotten flesh to put in there and substitute that in for the sugarcane. So instead of actually resetting up the sugarcane, I'm just going to set up this mob farm and we're going to get a bunch of rotten flesh from this and use that for power. So we're pretty much killing 2 birds with 1 stone, which is awesome. So we're going to be setting it up over there. On top of that, we also have all the other things that are going to drop from this that we can hopefully put to good use because I am running out of stuff to kill around here to get food. So, you know, starting a farm and using some bone meal on that might not be the worst thing in the world. So we actually don't have much to craft today. We're going to be using a hopper to collect the drops, using the basic logistical transporters because we don't really need any fancy ones. And then you've probably seen this recipe before. We're going to be crafting 6 different bins. Now, I don't know specifically how many we're going to need. I haven't actually counted out every type of mob drop that we might get, but 6 of them should be able to cover all the main ones. I don't know if, yeah, I think that should be fine. So these are going to stay as just basic bins for now, because eventually once we start actually running all these different processes, we're going to be pulling out the rotten flesh. It's not going to be stored anywhere. We're going to be pulling out the gunpowder. So all we're really going to be storing are going to be skeleton drops. Now, we don't have to worry about spiders because we're doing Ethos design, which is going to be doing the 3x3 pads. It does require a lot of cobblestone. The nice thing is that we can chisel this and make it look better without actually having to cook it down. So we're going to be grabbing some glass, and then we're just going to grab a buttload of cobblestone. That's gravel. We don't need that. So we're just going to grab pretty much all the cobblestone we have. Definitely gonna have to make a new chisel for this just because this one is gonna wear out. Even though it's a diamond chisel, it's gonna wear out. Now, I'm gonna be doing a lot of cutting and jumping back this episode because I don't think I'm gonna do any sped up clips, but for a lot of the stuff that's kind of boring, I'm probably gonna cut and jump back, like going up 22 blocks, and then we'll probably do a little bit of building together, and then we'll hop off again, and then we'll finish setting it up. So I think I'm gonna get this all set so we can start building it, and then we will hop back. Okay guys, so we are back. Now I have everything set up so that we can start working and pretty much just go over the design if you haven't seen it before. And even if you have seen it before, we can chat for a little bit. But like I said, we're doing Ethos 3x3 platform design, and the reason I'm doing this one rather than the one that you might think is standard, which is just the box, is because this one prevents spiders from spawning, and dealing with spiders is a little bit annoying. It does that by putting cobblestone slabs down on the 3x3 pads, so there aren't enough spawning spaces for spiders. So the way this works is you make these 3x3 pads right here. So we're going to do one here, we're going to do one right over here, and this takes up a lot of cobblestone doing even just one layer. It takes up a lot of whatever block you're using. I'll show you guys my inventory after one layer, and you'll have seen it before we actually started too. So I guess for now, you can see it like this. It takes up a lot of cobbles. So it's actually a little bit unfortunate that we're not doing any mining on our own because the digital miner is not getting us any cobbles. So if I want to expand this a lot, I'm going to have to get some cobbles somehow. So we are going to put down another pad here, and you pretty much are just going to extend these out with one more in every direction, just not in the corners. So like this. And once we get this base layer down, these actually go to be too high so that mobs can't accidentally like jump back up on them once they fall off. And there we go. So I'm actually really excited for this to be done. I love making mob spawners because they're pretty much just constantly being improved upon, whether it's you expanding and adding more layers to them, and eventually I hope to get at least like 5 layers, 5 to 10 layers on this one. Typically you'd want like 10 to 15, but you can also go around and light up caves. Now that's something I'm going to have to make a conscious effort of doing because I haven't really gone mining in a while. There's been no need to, but I'm actually going to want to go mining just to light up caves because you want as many mobs spawning in here as possible. So this is all the pads that we have. Pretty darn nice. So it looks like we're rocking 12 pads for this. But yeah, so we have the base layout done now. So now we have to go up again on these for another set of 9. Now it's really nice that we have a jetpack. If you guys watched my immersive engineering series, you know that we pretty much did this same mob farm. I started with the typical one that's just the box with the 2 wide water streams going down to the center that does spawn spiders, but I eventually changed it off camera to this design. And the reason behind that is because we didn't need spiders there either. We had enough hemp to deal with stuff, but yeah, I had it in that series, and you know, I really loved it there. It was great. We did a lot of sorting. It was a ton of fun. I totally forgot what I was going to say about it, but yeah, if you guys remember from there, we made the same mob spawner, but it only got like 3 layers on it, so I'm interested in seeing just how effective we can make it. Okay, so yeah, we're almost done with this, and there we go. Okay, so now we have all the pads pretty much ready, except for putting a slab down in the center. So if you guys don't know, the reason that we're putting the slabs down, like I said, is to prevent spiders from spawning, because they require more areas to spawn. So pretty much every single wide mob, if you want to consider spiders to be 2 wide, which they are, we'll be able to spawn on here. Now, if we were to set a certain height, which would prevent endermen from spawning, which we are also going to do, it'll pretty much limit it to just the ones that we want. So we want zombies. Skeletons don't really matter. We want zombies and we want creepers, and then skeletons will just kind of be there. Like I said, we can put them into a farm if we really want to. Not really sure yet, but this should get us exactly what we want. Now, one pad is not going, or one layer for this is not going to be super effective. So I might go off camera once we finish this layer and make another one really quick just so that we can see kind of how it works, because the caves are not lit up very well. It's not lit up well outside, so I'm gonna have to make sure it's daytime. But we should be able to at least see if it works, and it definitely will work. It's really not a question of whether or not it'll work, but it's going to be really slow. So right now we just need to build up the walls. I go 2 at a time, and it does take a lot because we're gonna have to put a ceiling on this after. But the nice thing is that when you put a ceiling on, that's the floor for the next layer, of course. So it does help a little bit initially when you make it and you just have to make the floor the first time. It feels really bad because you're only helping 1 layer, but eventually you're helping 2 layers at the same time. So there we go. Just building around the outside. This is really another costly portion of this. You can kind of cut corners if you want. I'm not going to do that just because I'm not super worried about running out of that many resources right now. But we pretty much just emptied all the cobblestone out of our chest, and we're running pretty darn low. This will pretty much 1 inventory is going to finish 1 layer for us. So you'd need a lot of double chests of whatever resource you plan on using for this. So I'm actually going to go off camera now and finish just the ceiling and finish these walls around the outside and throw the water down, and then we can come back. We can get things ready downstairs so that we can start putting the items into bins, and we can see if this will actually function. Okay guys, so we are back. Now this layer is almost done, and once we finish this, we can break the torch, head downstairs, and start putting out the bins to collect any items that we would get. But we do have to deal with a couple issues with the water streams right now. Now one thing I want to point out is there's no animation on for water right now. I pretty much used Optifine to turn off all animations because really it's not that important. We don't look at water that much, and along with that, due to the lag that Mekanism does cause, I don't really know why, but apparently a lot of you get it. It's a common issue. I've tried to minimize that by getting as good FPS as I can before those issues hit, and then when they do hit, hopefully it doesn't impact it that much. But hopefully that really isn't a big issue. If it bothers you guys a lot, feel free to let me know. But the first water stream issue we have to deal with is right here at these 4 corners. So First, you could try and put water down right here and right here, but it would take twice as much, and it would actually bring the water stream right on top of this cobblestone block right here, which is the one that leads down the chute that is going to go into the base. So what we want to do is break this block right here and then put down water right there. Now that is going to work for both sides, and it's going to bring it so that the mobs will come here or come through the side here, and it will still leave this central block open. Now one thing that we actually have to do is come over here and kind of cheat a little bit. So I'm actually going to put this block down right here and just make an infinity pool so that we can fill in the rest of these, and then we can break that and fix it later. So we got to fill in that one, fill in this one, and one more. And then we should be good on filling in water. So right over here, and the blocks going to the center will be a good sign that it's actually working. Okay, so now we can fix this over here. Get that, and that should now be good. You can break that. All the blocks should end up in the center. And the last thing that we want to do, this isn't crucial, but we're just going to do it, is you can cover up this area right here, because having that water block open is not important. So it just cleans things up a little bit. There we go. And finish it off over here. Okay, so now everything should be good to go. Anything that comes off these pads should just get carried right to the center and fall right down. Now, I know there are some issues because you only have a one wide opening where mobs will kind of get glitchy, where they, you know, are about to fall in, and then another one from over there is about to fall in, and they're just kind of bumping into each other. But that really shouldn't be that much of an issue once we get enough layers on here and things are falling off of different floors and not just one. So we should be able to break this torch and head downstairs. So break this, fall all the way down. I even made the chute out of cobblestone just because it would bother me if it wasn't. And I think things might fall on our head if they start spawning up there, but I don't really think it's going to be that much of an issue for the time being. So we can start setting up the rest of this. So we can put a hopper right here. Oh my gosh, let me out. Okay, there we go. So we can put a hopper right here. I don't think it actually even needs to go into anything. We should just be able to pull out of it. So I am going to fix this right here and put glass in the front. I'm actually going to put glass all the way up this portion of it because I think that'll look pretty darn good. Okay, so there we go. We'll put glass up there. Yeah, I think that'll look pretty cool if we can see him falling. And then we can just put torches on there, be symmetrical. And I guess the barrels can go over here. So this is 7 from the wall. So maybe we need another barrel. Maybe we need to get rid of one. I actually think putting the barrels like this would look pretty cool. Especially because we're not going to be using them that much once we set up the other systems in like a day or so. But we can put them... I'm trying to think of how we want to do this, because we're going to have to put the stuff right on top of them. So we can go like that. Then these blocks need to be broken. We can break this block right here. And we can do the logistical transport. Actually, we can break this block right here. We can break all these blocks, actually. And we can put down the cobblestone behind most of them, just that when we put down the logistical transporters, it looks a little bit nicer. If we didn't have cobblestone behind them that's chiseled, it might look kind of gross. And back here, I'm going to do that with just that block because we might see that. And we do need to get back there, actually, to run the logistical transporter down. It should be this block right here that we have to get into. That should be the hopper right there. Yep. So logistical transporter can go right there, and we're going to set that to pull. And now it should be able to take out anything that's in those. We'll test that in a little bit. So then that can get brought up here, and I'm going to replace these 2 blocks and these blocks right back here, just so that if we look in here, it doesn't look gross at all. That would bother me. That's one thing that bothered me, especially over there, seeing through, because we don't have the carpenter's blocks, I want to say, or micro blocks. We actually might need to get micro blocks in here, because that would fix that, I think. No, we don't need it to go all the way up there. I don't know why I fixed that one up there. We need it to go right there. Okay, so that should be good. Now anything that falls in here, and we can break this because these actually do come back to us, should get placed in one of these. Yep. So there we go. We got that placed in there. So we can put the glass back down, and now it all comes down to seeing if things will spawn upstairs. So I don't think it's nighttime out right now. No, it's not, but a big issue is going to be the fact that things are spawned in caves all around us. So there really is no reason for stuff to be spawning upstairs and falling down. So what I might do is go and do a few things, go light up some caves and add another layer. One thing that we can do before we do that, though, is look at my inventory and you can see how much cobblestone we used. Pretty much all of this was full. I would say maybe 2/3 of my inventory was full of cobblestone, and we used pretty much all of it to construct that one layer. So that's a lot of resources for just one layer. So just something to keep in mind if you guys are thinking about constructing this. You do need a lot of throwaway resources. A lot of the time you might be carving out an area rather than, actually using blocks if you're really far underground. That might be a little bit easier so that you can carve out half the area, and then the minute you hit, roughly level 60 where you'd be popping out of the ground, then you can use the blocks you carved out to construct your new layers. If you didn't really care about how it looked, you could just use random blocks like dirt or granite or anything along those lines, but I kind of care how it looks, so it's a little bit harder for me. But like I said, I'm going to hop off camera. I'm going to see if any guys spawn, see that this all functions properly, that they get down here, that the stuff gets collected, and then I'm going to go light up some caves. I'm going to go construct another layer, and then we'll hop back again, see the results, and call it a day.
Invincible.
Okay guys, so we are back now. Hopefully you enjoyed those sped up clips. A lot of you guys have asked that when I do building, if I do it off camera, or really if I do anything off camera, that I just speed it up a little bit. So I thought this would be a great time to try it. So if you enjoyed it, feel free to let me know. If you didn't enjoy it, also feel free to let me know. Hopefully the music was good for you guys. But yeah, so things are actually starting to work over here. There are apparently very large caves under my base. And when I say very large, I mean obscenely large. So I'm gonna have to go down there with like half an inventory of torches to light them up, and hopefully not get super lost down there. But I actually just had a couple of guys fall down here after spawning, one of which was a creeper. It was really great. Some of these drops I did just throw in there on my own, but a creeper just fell down here and it lived with half a heart. So I just remembered that dropping them 22 blocks might kill most of them, but if they fall off the first floor, I think they're going to be a point where they can be punched to death. So we may need to deal with that a little bit. Whether it's adding in like a piston that'll crush their heads or something along those lines, we may have to do that, but hopefully it won't be too much of an issue. We can also just lower this and just not watch them hit exactly where the ground is, but things are starting to work as they should be. As you can see though on the map, there are still guys spawning around me in little crevices in the walls and stuff along those lines, but I lit up a lot outside too. There's torches going probably like 3 to 4 chunks around the base now, maybe a little bit more in all directions. So we'll slowly get there off camera. I'll do some upgrades to all this stuff, but I'm really excited for next episode because we are going to be doing the 5 times ore processing. We're going to have the gunpowder we need for that, and a lot of you guys have been wanting to see 5 times ore processing, so I will cover how you can get gunpowder if you don't want to do it like we're doing it right now. I'm not going to do it on camera tomorrow, but it's pretty easy to walk through the steps considering we can walk through it literally right now. So if you want to go get gunpowder, you can look at how you get that, which comes from flint, which comes from gravel, which is in the purification chamber, which is a little bit unfortunate, solely because you need oxygen for it, but you can get that from the cobblestone. So there's a lot of different stuff that you can do to actually get gunpowder and get the flint that you might need, but I think this is the most effective way to do that, and it's also a little bit fun because this will let us get the ethylene and, you know, some arrows, all that good stuff. So I think that's going to be it for today, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, please feel free to give it a like, as it does help me out a lot, and I will talk to you guys later.